I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Welcome to another program of Grassroots Business Journal. We're talking small business links to social media. I am your host, Paul Wilusz. Today, as my guest, I have the Deputy Executive Director of Headqu, Fernando Rosa. Fernando, pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the time that you've given us.
Excellent, excellent. Over these past several years, we're seeing that the recession has really given a burden to small business, to people in general, causing the stresses that it usually will come out with it. Small businesses and the nonprofits are starting to feel the squeeze and causing economic stress. How do you fit, or how does your organization fit into maybe giving some hope for the recovering of from this recession?
Well, the small business and nonprofit are always prone to be under stress. They're always taking in risks to create jobs, to create the use of the commercial space. So the risk is always higher than anything else that you have. When you have a soft economy like we have going through for a number of years, the risks are even higher. They're higher because number one, they might not be able to get the contracts that they were dealing with. They might not be able to get the financing that they had at one point or another. Their banking relationship might be deteriorating. So there's a number of factors that come into the place to increase the stress of the small business. We're already dealing with a very difficult field and a very risky field. So Headqu came into play back in 1975 as a quasi-public organization, a creation of the business community and the city of Hartford. And there is twofold that we do, and one of them is provide them technical assistance through our Business Resource Center, and the second one is provide them with loans. Headqu has developed a number of partnerships with the city, with the state, with the Hartford Foundation for the Public Giving, as well as many other partners throughout the states to provide loans and provide assistance to those small business in the state of Connecticut. Originally, Hartford Headqu was the Hartford Economic Development Corporation, strictly working in the city of Hartford. Okay. Then, as the area evolved, we did work in the 7 contiguous towns of the state of Connecticut. Okay. And in 2011, it expanded to be a statewide organization.
Okay. What has been the response from having the organization not only to within the greater Hartford community, but then to extend into the outer fringes within the Connecticut area?
It has been very well received. Our concentration is still the urban centers. We're going to serve every town that the state has, but we're really looking at working all of our major work in the urban centers, in Hartford, Waterbury, Bridgeport, New Haven, New Britain, Meriden, the really, really major centers. That's where we concentrate, where the small business are. That's where they have the most difficult field to work, for many, many reasons. Obviously, there is reasons why the urban centers are more of a challenge, but that's why it's important to improve the quality of life in those urban centers.
What have you found to be those particular challenges within the urban areas? Well, and are they needed? And are there barriers within that? And how can we allow for more participation?
Well, the barriers are, you have a difficult trying to get credits for one reason or another, maybe because of security, maybe because you also depend a lot on the state budgets, you depend on the federal budgets. Your business all of a sudden is no longer getting the disposable cash that you need. But you also could have a security problem, and the urban centers are more prone to have some issues with security that the other business might not have. And we have, along the way, seen it in different cities. And because of the high risk and because of the volatility of this, the small business, all it takes is just sometimes one small action just to tilt the business to really create enough issues for them. For example, in Hartford, there is construction with the MDC and the separation of the waters. Well, it's a great project and it's ongoing, but it's also affecting all the small businesses that are located on those particular venues, because you can no longer get the traffic into the place the way you used to have. Well, while everybody else is looking and say, wow, this is a great way, we're doing a great project, spending millions of dollars to do the separation and the Clean Water Act. Well, small businesses in that particular area is getting tremendously affected. And that has been for a number of years. At the same time, when you have problems, violence in the city, and the major centers are obviously having a little bit more than anybody else, and that particular item, just one or two spikes, might create the perspective that the city is not safe. So they're dealing with a lot more issues. They're also dealing with a more challenge, but the rewards are really great. The rewards are great. Paul, we need to look at the situation at the background of the business. Most of the new business fail within 1 year. The remaining, out of the remaining business, 30% fail within the second year. So whatever you have that is left, it is the best of the cream of the crop. But there is always new business coming up. There's always new ideas. There's always new challenge. But in order to go into the business, if you're in, you need to be well prepared. There's a number of things your business plan needs to be done. You're already working against items that are more challenging than anything else.
What do you find as your organization to help small businesses? How do you see yourself at an advantage to the small business that maybe other organizations are not able to really do or to assist?
Well, because of the partnerships that we have with the city of Hartford, with the state, with the foundations, we have funds that are available to those small businesses that might not be able to get them through their normal financial channels. We have specific dollars that are applicable in certain areas where we call very territorial loans. And for example, in Hartford, you have loans that are applicable in the commercial strips, on Park Street, on Franklin Avenue, on Albany Avenue, and the Enterprise Zone, as well as on Farmington Avenue. The commercial strips have to be and continue to be an essential part of the city. Many of them are, because they're small business, they're not really able to get the financing that they need. City of Hartford, in cooperation with Headqu, create a specific program just to making sure that those small businesses have the funds that they need to operate. The Hartford Foundation for the Public Giving also created a credit line program back in 1992 to serve the Capital Region 29 towns, nonprofits that provide them with a credit line. The credit lines are to be used as what we call a bridge loan when the funds from the city, from the state, from the other foundations are not received on a timely basis and service have already been performed. So it's there is not only the financial assistance, then there is also the technical assistance where we sit down with the business trying to figure out exactly what the situation is, and try to see if we come up with an answer to help them with their problems.
How important is that bridge loan?
Oh, it's tremendously important. We now serve 40 nonprofits in the 29 towns. We're going from 45 to, sometimes up to 45, 46. $2 million. $2 million been invested. $75,000 max for each nonprofit. For many of them, if there was not for that bridge loan, they would not make it. Because. For many reasons, the loans that they're expecting or the contracts are delayed, and they're delayed because the budgets at the different levels. Might be because the government was closed. It might be the sequester. It might be the state budget. It might be the city budget, and it all depends. It's not only on the major centers; it's also in the urban. If they didn't have an additional source of funds to pay their salaries to keep their working capital going, they would not survive.
If our audience and our listeners would like to see some of the successes of Headqu, where would they best be able to see them?
Go through our website. We update our website on a regular basis with success stories, with news that are coming up. So every time that we have some news that are coming, we'll post them on there. That would be the best part. Headqu is a nonprofit organization, 501c3. We've been around since 1975. Our website is www.headquinc.com. Our annual report comes out on an annual basis with stories. This year we're going to feature 3 individuals that have been in business for over 25 years, and we have a system at the beginning. So there's lots of information out there that you could get on the organization, and also if there is any additional questions that you have, you could call the office.
Okay. How do you see small businesses making an impact in the facial makeup of the greater Hartford area, whether it's within Hartford or greater Hartford area? Is it new types of businesses or the same types of businesses that people will be able to see?
Well, the great thing about small business is that there is always new ideas coming up. There is always an individual that really thinks that it could be do better than what is there. And my advice to them is always making sure that you take your time to know exactly what your product is going to be, to do your business plan, to do the real planning on a short term and long term, what the business is going to look like. You have one good thing: you need to nurture the existing business, retain them, and making sure that they continue to have the working capital and the needs that they have. For the newer business is the question of really providing them with the assistance to develop the business. I mean, knowing that they're at a risk to fail a lot more than most of the business, knowing that they're going in undercapitalized. So if you could bring up some of the minefields to them and through the developing of the business plan, then it makes life a lot easier.
Okay. How do you see what do you see as a major issue for the small businesses within that first year or first couple of years where the failure might be? What do you do to try to reduce the failures?
Well, the biggest risk is still most of them. I would probably make a general statement are undercapitalized. And they're undercapitalized. They underestimate their expense. They overestimate their income. I'm going to make $100,000 in the first year. Everybody's going to come to my door. Well, they probably will, but not exactly on the first or second day. So they go in undercapitalized. They go in under budget. And obviously they overestimate the success. Okay. And business has to have enough working capital and enough money to be sustainable for about 2 years. Okay. To be able to develop the product, to be able to develop the marketing, to be able to know exactly where they're going, so that even when the sales are not coming in, when the income is not being produced, they have enough money to keep the business going. The biggest failure is exactly not having enough money. But then the second consequence comes back: why don't you have enough money? Well, most likely you have to tap out all of your sources. You have to tap out your friends. You don't have enough work. You don't have enough collateral to get additional loans. So you get into that box where you need more, but you're not going to get more because there is other reasons why you not get any more.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had a good segment here at this point. My guest today has been Fernando Rosa, Deputy Executive Director of Headqu. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And again, there's plenty of money available.
There's money. There's dollars.
There's dollars. So get your business plan and bring it to them. This has been Paul Wilusz, your host for Grassroots Business Journal. Until next time, keep talking business and have a great day.